everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sophia. I am Sophia Ufi Ukor, the founder of Violet Simon, a media company that amplifies the voices of women from diverse backgrounds using authentic storytelling to explore women's lives, their experiences, challenges, accomplishments, and milestones. We want to push representation and equality, inspire others, entertain, inform, and generate calls to action on key women's issues in all aspects of life. Conversations with Sophia is a talk show where we bring in guests to explore these themes. And today we have Yasmin Spark, the founder of Align Events. Hi, Yasmin.
Hi, Sophia. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so Yasmin is a good friend of mine, and she is also, like I said, the founder of Align Events. And you know, um, we have rescheduled this talk show like several times, and we've rescheduled it like maybe 3 times because when we went on our Zoom chat, we just went on and we're just talking, and we could talk and talk and talk. And that's just the kind of person Yasmin is. She's amazing. She's full of light and energy, and I'm so happy to have her today here on Conversations with Sophia. And so today we are going to be talking on alcohol recovery, and we're going to be sharing, and Yasmin is going to be talking about her journey and her story from recovering from alcohol, and everything that comes with that, and even why she founded why she created Align Events. So Yasmin, let me start by asking first, what is your story with drinking and alcohol? Like what's that story? There's a story behind, you've been sober for how long?
6 years now. 6 years.
You've been sober for 6 years. So you've been sober for 6 years. And what led to that? So before you talk about how you became sober, let's talk about what even made you decide to become sober. Like, what's the story behind drinking and, and all that?
Yeah, okay. So I think it's difficult, right? Because some people want to just hear the short version, but there isn't a short version. So like it took 6 years to get to this place. There was a whole load of backstory, and we all suffer from trauma in one way or another. I've had a lot of trauma in my childhood and my teenage years, and they call it complex PTSD, when you have a layer of trauma, right? But there was no one to talk to about that, and there was no support. And that's no one's fault, that's just how it was at the time. And an easy route and a kind of socially acceptable route for me was to just bury my pain in drinking, especially in England. Nobody cares. No one cares. If you're drinking and you look like you're having fun, no one's going to say you've got a problem. Nobody. They'll just go, yeah, come to the party. Come on. Yes, Yasmin, she's a good time girl. Come on. Then nobody. So, it was like I was able to live a kind of double life. But I think I was about 26. I was working really hard in a job that I actually didn't really care for. It wasn't making me happy. I had a nice house. I was seeing someone at the time, but my life was empty. Like my soul was empty, Sophia. You get me? I'd wake up every day and I'd just go, what? Why? Like, why? Why am I here? What am I doing? I'm so sad inside. I'm so empty. And that's because I wasn't living as I was meant to be living it. I hadn't processed my pain. I wasn't finding things that made me joyful. I was just going through the motions. So I got therapy. I started therapy. And that was a very long journey. And through that journey is when I realized that alcohol, for me personally, it does nothing. It doesn't add to my life. It disconnects me from my brain, from my true self. I can't feel and be present in the moment like we're in the moment now. I can't be in that if there's alcohol. So that's where we are.
Oh my God. Wow. And talking about that, and you saying that, you had to you were relying so much on alcohol. And so was it like, can you tell me about that experience in terms of, did you feel like you had to like shut down? Because for some people, they drink and for them it's like, you know what? Like me, for example, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I need like to decompress. So I'm just gonna have get me a glass of wine and just be done with it. But for you, was it like a little bit of the extreme? Because there are people again who say, okay, then they focus a lot on alcohol and then it kind of like will I say it negatively disrupts their entire life and the people around them. Was that what it was for you?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of people that I hurt through my drinking, most of all myself. But because of the level of pain that I was trying to navigate, right, it wasn't like, let me just decompress with one glass of wine. Yeah, I was drinking to really escape those feelings and escape myself. So there's no amount of wine that you can drink, right? The pain's still there, but I was trying, I was really trying. And so for me, yeah, it's not, I know if, because I'm still working through the pain, yeah, it's a never ends, an ongoing process of becoming yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a drink now, it won't stop at one drink.
Mm.
I'm, I'm not drinking to enjoy the taste or whatever. I'm drinking to, I guess, calm myself, push down the pain, push down the rage. But that doesn't work.
That was your coping mechanism, your strategy to cope and deal with all the things you dealt with. And when you talk about like the escape, you keep talking about the escape. So what exactly were you escaping from? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so escaping myself. Yeah, escaping the feelings.
And what feelings, what feelings exactly were you? I mean, there's talking about the emptiness and you talked about the trauma as well. So
Yeah.
um what were those things that do you want to share about those things that actually led you to actually start taking alcohol, like those traumas, things that you actually the things that you actually dealt with basically led you to start drinking excessively?
Sure. So I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse.
Hmm.
Happened when I was 8 years old, and I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone. You're a child. You feel shame. You don't want to get in trouble. But that shame lives with you and stays with you, and it grows stronger and stronger, and it eats away at your core. And
Hmm.
then when you have a disrupted family life on top of that, we were always moving backwards and forwards, bullying, different schools, um, just that kind of thing. You don't know who you are in the world, and you're primed to be a victim. And
Hmm.
if you don't have anyone in your corner and anyone supporting you, that's hard. And so you just learn to navigate. So I think I had my first drink when I was 13. And I was trying to be cool. It was for a party. I was trying to be cool. And I wanted to be accepted, right? Acceptance is a big need, a need for validation when you don't know who you are.
Hmm.
Um, and so that just started it. And then on that night, I got drunk, kissed my friend's boyfriend. Then she got really angry, but it was the start. Do you see a pattern, right? It's a pattern.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really common pattern as well in survivors of sexual abuse, is that your body becomes worthless because you've just been completely disconnected. Somebody, and I know you understand this,
I do. I totally get
right? So somebody took that from you, and so you just don't know your own value anymore.
it. Hmm.
So it's been a long time to really come back to myself and realize my own value. And that's been a hard journey.
Like, you're making me terrible.
No, don't.
No, it's great. I think that these are things that um I think most people connect with. It's amazing and it's shocking the level of assault and violence that women and young girls experience. And I mean, I have to say, I wish I could hug you over
You
here.
will
And
soon.
yes, but it's so It's so shocking, and internalizing that, and then obviously using that to, rely on other things and other methods, other coping mechanisms, basically, so that you could whatever it is, we feel something or feel nothing at all. And that is, I think, in most people, I think you may say that it's kind of maybe common with most people who like, go into maybe alcohol, excessive alcohol,
Yeah.
and other forms of, things that make people addicted and, take things away. I mean, for me, basically, it was, my story in sexual assault as well, and then the drinking and the excessive smoking and all of it, even like, excessive smoking and not,
Yeah.
not having value for yourself and your body. And I think it's so important in today's world that a lot of people understand. What would you say to your younger self if you were looking at her today and you were saying, this is little Yasmin who has been through all those things? What would you say to little Yasmin? And when you're saying that to little Yasmin, obviously you're saying that to anybody who's going through something similar. What would you say to little Yasmin?
I would say it's not your fault and you don't need to feel shame and you need to tell someone, you need to speak up for this, be brave and tell someone. That's what I would say.
Hmm. Amazing. And now you have decided to create this amazing company called Align Event. My goodness. What was, now, first of all, we said we're going to talk about the journey to getting sober. So before we talk about Align Event, because I'm sure the story of Align Event is connected to how you became sober. So tell me, when did you decide? What was that, an event or series of events? You've said that there's several things that happened, but what was the catalyst to making you decide, I'm going to be sober? And how
Okay.
have you managed to stay sober for 6 years?
So it was, I think it was two things or maybe three things. So, and those were the prompts. I was like, I need to go to therapy. I can't deal with this, right? Right? I was like, what is going on? I was diagnosed with a heart condition
Oh
out
God.
of the blue, out of nowhere. Yeah, yeah.
You have
And
that. Is it like a long-term heart condition?
yeah,
What's the heart condition? Do you mind? I mean, is there
it's
an awareness?
no, it's called dilated cardiomyopathy.
Hmm.
And basically means one side of your heart is baggier than the other, so it can't pump. So you sometimes I'll just like black out.
Oh
Yeah. Giraffes have it. That's something that they told me because they can't get the blood all the way around. But it's genetic
God.
and it's completely idiopathic. So I had no idea. But they did say that one of the causes can sometimes be drugs and alcohol. Now, we don't know whether that was the case in this case because I do carry the genes, but I was just diagnosed. I'd come back from, I went to Gambia. I was on a trip to Gambia, which was amazing, by the way. And that was really like start of soul healing. Yeah. So it was just like, oh my God. Um, and then I'd come back and I was at my boyfriend's house. I got up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet and I just blacked out. Don't know how long I was down for. He said a couple of minutes. But the scary thing was when I woke up, yeah, I couldn't see. I literally couldn't see.
Goodness.
I was just like, oh my God. We went to hospital and I thought, oh, it's just fainting, you know. They started asking all these questions. Yeah, as anyone had a history of heart disease, are
Mhm.
you a runner? Because it happens. So a lot of footballers and runners, they get it. You have you heard of sudden cardiac death when you just drop down?
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, people. Yeah, actually, yes.
So that can happen if you've got this condition.
Wow.
Um, and then they said because they have to be realistic, so
Mhm.
they were like, you know, the chances in the first year of survival are 50-50.
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, what the
What?
what the yeah. So you just and at that point you're like, oh, okay. So that was going on. And then also my stepdad, who I love dearly, I love him dearly, he has bipolar. So he was going through an episode of bipolar as well.
Mm.
And I just remember sat at my desk at work and I was looking at these spreadsheets and I was like, I can't. I can't deal with this. Like the drinking isn't even touching the surface anymore. Yeah, the drinking is not helping. I really need some help. Like I need some support. And I found an amazing therapist, and we've been working together ever since, really. She specialized in trauma as well. She specialized in childhood trauma. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, you've been through the ringer. I mean, I don't know. You've been through hell and back, and hell and back, and here you are, and you're trying to create something meaningful. You're making something meaningful out of your life. And I have to say, um, if there's ever a time you thought like you're not doing enough, I'm telling you, you are. And I'm amazed by you. Um, like I'm love struck all over again.
Yeah, but you know me too, Sophia. Like when I heard your story, I was like, this woman is superwoman. She is a goddess.
No, I mean, like, oh wow. And so your journey through being sober started from that, those series of events in your life, from the heart condition to deciding this isn't it anymore. I need help. And when with therapy, did you have any like external support besides, your therapist that you could lean on? Or has it just been you, like getting on with it, even on days where you felt like I can't do this anymore? You just keep going. Was that the case for you?
So for the first year, it was just me. It was just me. Like our families are amazing, but sometimes they can't be there for us in the way that we want them to be. And that's okay, right? We'll have to just accept that.
Yeah.
So for the first year, it was just me. The second year, I actually was like, I really need to stop working, and because I realized that I didn't like the job. So I moved back in with my mum in Leicester, and we hadn't lived together since I was 16, so that was like a real like difficult thing. But the thing is, she was really there when I needed her through that time, because through that time, actually, the police had got in touch and they wanted to take my abuser to court because he was still abusing people. And so they asked for my testimony in court. And thank God my mother was there on that day when I got that letter, because it broke me. It broke me. It validated everything. Sometimes as a victim, as a survivor, you think, is it me? Did I misremember?
Absolutely.
Right? But then I was like, no, okay, let's do this. Let's just put this to bed. And my mother was there at my side, and I'm so grateful for that.
Oh my goodness. And how was that experience for you? You were already sober then. And then did you feel like you had to relapse? And at that moment, how have you handled moments when you feel like, oh God, this is it, I'm just going to relapse again? Have you had any relapse? And how have you handled, how have you, because it's a lot. 6 years is huge.
Yeah. So my therapist told me something really good at the start, and it's always stuck in my head. She said, you going back to alcohol is like a dog eating its own vomit.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So when you think of that imagery, and it really stuck in my mind, and when you think about that imagery, I was like, there's nothing productive going on here. And for me personally, it's a disgusting act. So that's, my brain has made that association now. I have relapsed accidentally. Somebody bought me a cider and I thought it was not alcoholic.
Oh my goodness.
And I started spiraling out. But a really good friend of mine, and she runs a WhatsApp group for Black women in sobriety. We got on the phone, and she was a bit of AA support, and she was like, Yasmin, it's okay. Like, you're not going to suddenly pick up a bottle of vodka. Like, it's fine.
Amazing. And now let's talk about Align events. How did that come about? How did you create Align events? How was that? What was that? what inspired you? I can already think off the top of my head several things that has inspired you to create the Align event. But yeah, let's talk about Align event. When did you start it? What inspired you to decide I want to create this company for myself that creates non-alcoholic drinks for people?
So I started it in March this year,
Wow.
and it was because so 5 years down the line, I feel quite comfortable in my sobriety. I don't mind going out to bars. I don't mind going out to clubs, but there weren't many options, and the options that I found were like kind of boring or sugary. They just weren't glamorous. Like, I'm sober. I'm not like boring. I want I want to have a good time. I want the theatre. I want the glamour. But there wasn't any of that just because, I'm choosing not to drink. It was like society was like punishing me for that. So the final straw came. My mum and I went to a spa. It was my birthday. They didn't have nothing. They had orange juice. I was like, okay, fine. So I just said, you know what? I'm doing it myself. I'm just doing it myself. And we never looked back.
Wow. And you did talk about, you said something which I was going to ask. What was it like initially? What's it like? Because when you go on social settings, drinking is kind of like a norm, like, oh, you can get a glass of wine. I mean, like,
Yeah.
so how does it like, was it triggering for you in the initial times? Did you have to like become a recluse or something in order for you not to, relapse and all that? And when you like, even now that you're very confident in who you are and in what you do, right? Before then, how was that for you in terms of like, going out to say, I'm going out with friends, or I'm going out for an engagement or corporate event, and you're not drinking? What was that experience like for you? And what do you think people could do more when, somebody says, I don't drink, or none, I'm good. What do you think should be done? Because often people keep looking at you with that, oh, I don't drink, and then you're waiting for a story next, like,
Yeah.
what's
Oh, hell
next?
yeah. All the time. Why not? What's wrong with you? Are you pregnant? That was one. I was like, wow, this has just got invasive to a whole new level. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard. Some people are your friends when you're a party girl because they're looking for someone else to enable their drinking. So, I lost quite a few friends. Some friends were really supportive. They were like, we totally get it. And I'm still friends with them to this day. Um, it was difficult in the beginning, not so much now, thank goodness. People are more aware. It was difficult. It was really difficult. I didn't really go out for the first 2 years. I really go out of my house. I went to the gym. I went to therapy. That's it. I didn't go out. I went to uni because I was doing my master's. That's it. Came home. And then I slowly started to get back into the outside world. But that was a process. I had to relearn all of my boundaries again. I had to there's a technique, and this is one for people that are in sobriety now or thinking about going sober. Yeah. It's called the stuck record technique. Have your line, and it doesn't matter what the other person asks, you just stick to that line. So if I say, no, I don't want to drink, I'm not drinking, you can say whatever you want, but I will keep saying, no, I don't want to drink, I'm not drinking. And the other person sooner or later will just give up because they know you're not going to change. That's your line, that's your boundary. It's also really good if you feel anxiety, like, oh, what do I say? I can't, because you don't need to say it, you just say that one line. You just keep repeating it.
Wow, that's amazing. And with Align events, you just started it this year. And what's the journey been like for you creating this, creating this now tell us a little bit, tell me a little bit about, Align event. I know Align events, but for people who are listening,
okay.
Align event, what is Align event, and where can we get a non-alcoholic drink?
Okay. So we are a non-alcoholic mobile cocktail bar. So what that means is if you are having a corporate event, you're having a birthday party, you're having a wedding, and you want to have a bar service come to you, we set up our bars. My husband builds all the bars. We design a bespoke cocktail list for you around the theme of your event, and then we will roll up and we'll serve all of the drinks for you. That's what we do. So that's one side. And then we also do pop-ups at street markets. Those are really fun. So the next one we're having, we will be at Bexley Heath Night Market in London. This is going to be really fun. There's going to be a DJ. There's loads of stuff going on. Yeah. And then we also have just started, but we'll probably do more of that next year, is shrub making classes. So I don't know if you know about shrubs, Sophia.
Yeah.
They're like, no, loads of people haven't. So they're like a non-alcoholic liqueur. So you can make them with anything. It's like a distillation of vinegar and then different herbs and different apples. Apples? It's because I'm looking out the window. Different fruits. I'm like, so you can make them. But I think what's really nice is what we wanted to do is we wanted to give people like something they can take home to make their non-alcoholic cocktails. So you come to the class, we teach you how to make it, you bottle your own, and then you go home and you can make your own little cocktail.
Oh, you're making me want to have a drink, or non-alcoholic drink. Oh, well, I mean, I'm definitely going to come into you for lessons because I need to.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and now, so with the journey and the mission and the future of Align Events, where do you see it going, and what do you hope to achieve with this company and with this brand and with the mission of what you're doing? What do you hope to achieve with that?
Well, 6% of all our profits go directly to Alcohol Change UK. So obviously that is close to my heart about alcohol misuse research, re-education, rehab support. I think in this country, we do have a problem and people don't like to talk about it. They just, they think that it has been normalized to go out and to drink hard. But how is that going to take its toll on our society collectively? There's already a strain on the NHS. 40 people die every single day from alcohol misuse. Those are needless deaths, Sophia. They don't need to die from it. We've got liver failure. You've got a higher increase of every single heart condition you could ever think of. Cancer. You're more predisposed to cancer. So it's not about saying you don't have to be like me and you don't have to stop completely, but let's just really be mindful about our interactions with alcohol. And my bars are there to say, you've got that option, right? You've got that option. If you want to have a gorgeous drink that makes you feel special, that helps you to socialize, then this is why I've started the bar. But I also wanted the funds from it to go to a charitable and a worthy cause. And so that's how we got together with Alcohol Change UK.
Amazing. Well, Yasmin, you are such an inspiration. You're such a light. I am so grateful to know you. I'm glad that you came on this talk show to share your story on alcohol recovery. I think that a lot of people will connect with that. I think a lot of people would, be inspired by that. And I'm speaking also personally because there was once upon a time in my life that I was always very I used to rely a lot, like I said earlier, on alcohol and all of the works. And I stopped drinking for a while. I stopped drinking for a couple years before I decided, okay, I can do this, but I can manage with this. I don't like go down the rabbit hole when I'm doing that. And so, yeah, I just think that you're remarkable. And thank you so much for coming to Conversations with Sophia. If you would like to know more about Align Events and know more about Yasmin, you can follow her on her Instagram page. I would put all the details of her Instagram page and her website in the description of this talk show. And then you can also, if you've not gotten a copy of Disruptors, by the way, spoiler alert, Yasmin is also going to be featured in series 2. Yasmin is going to be, she's going to be featured in series 2 of Disruptors. And in case you don't know, Disruptors is a magazine book series that shines a light on women who are challenging the status quo and rising above barriers in their own personal lives, in their professional lives, and their vocations, and creating a positive impact for themselves, for other people, underrepresented communities, and women and young girls as well. And obviously, you've heard Yasmin's stories, so she's definitely a disruptor in my book. And she's going to be featured in series 2 of The Disruptors. If you haven't gotten a copy of series 1, please do on our website at www.violetsimon.co.uk. Again, the direct links are going to be included in the description of this episode. So thank you for listening and thank you for watching Conversations with Sophia. I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope that you've gained, a thing or two on alcohol recovery. And if you're a person as well who is not into alcohol recovery, who's not doing an in alcohol recovery, at least you would know what to say to other people who are, recovering from alcohol as well. And for other, if you've been a victim of, sexual assaults, like Yasmin said, speak up, don't be scared. And it's not your fault, it's not you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Once again, I'm Sophia Ufi Uko. Thank you for listening and have a lovely day. Bye.